All right. I think I have all my ducks in a row here. Hey everyone, good Wednesday evening. It is 21 News, Chief Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm here. I'm streaming live, WFMJ.com/weather, the 21 Storm Tracker, or Storm Tracker 21 weather app. A fantastic app if you have not downloaded that. Of course, we're live here on Facebook and on my YouTube channel as well. Now, severe weather is not imminent. I'm getting the live stream up and running a little bit early this evening, even though the severe weather is a little ways off, because I did want to give everyone a heads up as to what's coming. This will be occurring around bedtime for some people, and did want to make sure you're up to speed maybe before turning in for the night tonight. So it is 7:46 this evening, and again, I'm streaming in many different places right now. If you prefer to watch on the website, WFMJ.com, if you are on a mobile app, you can watch on our weather app, Storm Tracker 21 weather app, Facebook and YouTube. You're going to see mostly the same content as well. There'll be a few tricks I can do on Facebook and YouTube that I can't necessarily do on the stream that is airing on the app and the website. Just some behind the scenes there, but for the most part, all this content will be just about the same. All right, 7:45 this evening, and we've been talking about the possibility of severe weather late this afternoon and especially this evening for a few days now, and everything's going pretty much according to plan. Big, heavy line of thunderstorms moved through western Ohio earlier on. Now it's kind of right down the middle of the state, from Cleveland to east of Columbus around Zanesville, and then heading down into southern Ohio as well. And just about the entire line has severe thunderstorm warnings along it. You only see two boxes above my head kind of highlighting a couple of warnings, but there's many more warnings than that. Our graphics computer just is not going to display every single warning because you would never see anything. But just assume that anyone in the way of this line is under a severe thunderstorm warning now or will be in the future. So let's get right to it. Let's talk about what's going on. I'm going to zoom out and kind of give you the big picture here. Look at this thing. I mean, that's a mondo line that's stretching from Lake Erie all the way down to the Ohio River, basically encompassing the entire middle of the state. As you can see, with all those plus signs and lightning icons, there's a ton of lightning with this. And the lightning and the wind are the two big threats. And I think that power outages are a good bet anywhere where this line tracks, and it's going to impact just about everyone before the evening is through. The hail threat is fairly minimal, especially impactful hail, the kind of hail that you need to move in your vehicle into the garage for. That doesn't seem all that likely. The tornado risk is not zero, but it is pretty low. It is low enough that we're not overly concerned, but it is something that we can't totally rule out. There's been a couple of tornado warnings here and there along this line early this evening, with perhaps some spin-ups being sighted on the radar. Haven't seen any evidence as of yet that actual tornadoes have touched the ground anywhere, but there's been a lot of wind damage with this line. I want to show you actually where we've been so far today with these storm reports, and everywhere where you see one of these icons, they're kind of a tree bending over, that's wind damage. Tons and tons of wind damage from Michigan to Indiana to western Ohio as well so far today, and no doubt this map will continue to get kind of filled in as we go through the next several hours, and more wind damage does seem pretty likely as this band continues to push east. Whenever we're covering severe weather, when we have a big wind event in which there are no tornadoes, people think there was a tornado because the wind was so strong. I do want to emphasize again tonight that actual tornadoes are fairly unlikely, but wind is very likely, and a 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gust is going to be just as problematic as a low-end tornado. So wind is wind, and a low-end tornado and a strong thunderstorm wind gust can be just about equivalent. So keep that in mind as we go through the evening. All right, look at all this lightning. I want to talk about the lightning for a second. You'll notice all the plus signs. When we're covering severe weather, we like to differentiate between positive voltage lightning strikes and lightning strikes that carry a negative voltage. What does that matter? All lightning is dangerous. It's all voltage. It's all not something you want to get hit with. But the positive voltage strikes tend to have a higher voltage. They tend to hit things on the ground more often, and they end up killing more people than the negative voltage lightning strikes. All lightning is dangerous. But when we see all these plus signs, I mean, this is really vivid lightning that is probably hitting a lot of things on the ground. And let me actually just pull up just the lightning, and then we'll query this and see what we're dealing with here. I mean, just tons of lightning just over the last half an hour. 1,500 strikes, and just about half of those are positive. Usually the negative strikes outnumber the positive strikes by a pretty big margin. The ratio is usually many more negative voltage strikes compared to positive. Right now it's about 50-50. So yeah, a lot of dangerous lightning with these storms as they continue to push east this evening. All right, if you're just joining us on the stream, we're just getting started. We started this a few minutes ago, and we got this started pretty early this evening. We're still in that phase of the game here where we're a ways off from getting these storms, but I did want to get the live stream up and running sooner than later, because a lot of people are going to be curious as to what's going on. And some people go to work early and they're going to be heading to bed in a couple of hours, and before things get too crazy here, I did want to break things down. Now let's talk about the timing. In case you haven't been following the forecast today, we've been talking a lot about the timing, and the timing really hasn't changed much, but just in case you haven't been following all that closely, this whole line is moving east at between 30 and 40 miles per hour on average. So let's do a quick, let's just say 35, and see what that gives us as far as arrival times as this pushes east. It's moving almost due west to east, or southwest to northeast almost, so let's do something like this. Now, not every city in the world is going to pop up on this graphic, but if you see a city that you're near, just assume that that's going to be just about when you see the storm as well. So the western edge of our television viewing area, some people can get us over the air with a satellite as far west as Canton, and Canton's probably about 45 minutes away from getting hit with a pretty good line of storms. Same thing over towards Kent and Ravenna. Now into our true television viewing area, in other words, the counties you can get us on cable and satellite, we're talking about Trumbull, Mahoning, Columbiana, and into parts of western PA as well. Warren about 917, so that would put it around Newton Falls, Mesopotamia, Southington, down towards Berlin, Lake Milton area, Sebring, Beloit, all those places right around probably 9 o'clock. Just others, Camel, and then down towards Salem, Columbiana, and up into Cortland and Howland, and all those places, kind of right in the middle of our viewing area, the middle of Trumbull and Mahoning counties, and down into central Columbiana County. You're probably looking at probably 9:20 to 9:50, kind of the middle of the 9 o'clock hour. And I would include in that probably Lisbon, Hanoverton, Salineville, heading up towards Washingtonville and Damascus. You're probably looking at maybe the first half of the 9 o'clock hour. Once you cross the state line over into western PA, this is probably closer to 10 o'clock, maybe 10 to 10:30 in places such as Sharon and New Wilmington and Newcastle and Mercer and Greenville, probably as you get into the 10 o'clock hour. And I think this is probably trying to clear the area, clear our television viewing area by at the latest 11:15 to 11:30. That's the latest. I wouldn't be surprised if this is done by about 11 in the far eastern end of our area, over into eastern Mercer and eastern Lawrence County. So what we're looking at is basically in our TV viewing area a time frame here of about maybe 9 o'clock to about 11 to 11:15, 11:30, roughly. And so that's kind of how things time out right now. In any one location, in your neighborhood, in your backyard, the heavy storms, the vivid lightning, the gusty winds, perhaps damaging winds, will only last 15 minutes, 20 minutes, tops. It's going to rain some after that, but the worst of the storm, the height of the storm, when the lightning is at its most dangerous and the wind is strongest, it's not going to last very long in any one location. Because of the relatively fast forward speed of these, we're also not terribly concerned about flooding tonight, because these are moving along at a pretty good clip. So when we break down the threats, this is what we've been talking about today. By far and away, number one threat, damaging winds. And these are strong winds. These have had a history of producing gusts of 60, 70 miles per hour plus out in western and central parts of Ohio and up into Michigan as well. Again, the tornado risk is low, but it's not zero. It's probably in the single digits, 1-2%. But that's not zero, and so we want to mention it as a low-end possibility. I'm not going to be surprised if here and there, maybe there's some pea-size hail, maybe up to dime size, but quarter size or larger, in other words, the size of hail that can really ding up your windshield and cause some problems and that sort of thing, that doesn't seem all that likely. From here on out, it's essentially about the wind. You know, when we're talking about hail sizes, it's really quarter and up that's problematic. Once you get down to penny size and smaller, unless it's super windy and you get that kind of hail, it usually is not anything more than conversational. It's not usually anything more than you look outside, oh, it's hailing. But once you get up to quarter size, that's an inch in diameter or larger, that's technically severe hail, and that can cause some big time issues. But again, the hail threat tonight overall is fairly minimal. Down in Marion, Ohio, there's been some video evidence of a possible tornado earlier on this evening, close to 6 o'clock. Is that right? Close to 6? That seems too long ago. Yeah, maybe that's right. Anyway, there's a possible tornado down towards Marion a little while ago. That's the first report I've seen all day that would suggest that there was an actual isolated tornado somewhere across the region. That's down in central Ohio. So we'll keep an eye on the storm reports and see if there's any more news on that. If you hear that screech in the background, if you've watched our severe weather coverage before, that screech is whenever someone in the National Weather Service chat room types the word tornado. Sometimes it's just the word tornado, sometimes it's the Weather Service issuing a tornado warning. And so it always gets our attention, and you'll see me look over there quickly and see what's going on. So if you hear that kind of screech in the background, that's what that is. If you hear the doorbell, that's just a routine message in National Weather Service chat. NWS chat's kind of our pipeline into the Weather Service. It's populated by employees of the National Weather Service, emergency managers, and television meteorologists. It's our place to stay in touch with what the NWS is doing. It's the first place we're going to see new products being issued. And so you hear those doorbell noises and other noises in the background. That's what you're hearing. All right, if you're just joining us, we're coming up on the 8 o'clock hour here. I launched the live stream pretty early this evening, even though the severe weather threat in our area, in our true television viewing area, is at least an hour away at this point. I did want to get this going pretty early. This is streaming live on WFMJ.com, the Storm Tracker 21 app, as well as Facebook and my YouTube channel as well. I post all my daily forecast videos, including Weather for Weather Geeks, on YouTube. And so if you're a user of YouTube, you can check those out there. Make sure you're subscribing to my videos on YouTube. It's pretty nice. You subscribe, you get a little notification whenever I post a new video. So you can find me there, and you can find me, of course, on Facebook and on Twitter. I'm Eric WFMJ on Twitter, on Instagram as well. And make sure you're also following the Storm Tracker accounts, Storm Tracker 21 on Facebook and on Twitter, as well as Instagram, and the rest of our weather staff as well. We're going to keep you in the know about all things weather. I'm going to poke through my Facebook comments here while I have some time and see what kind of what everybody's commenting on. Let's see here. Colleen asking, expecting any weakening as it moves towards our counties? Yes, there can be some subtle weakening. We're getting past the heating of the day now, the most favorable time for severe weather, but these are still big, strong thunderstorms, and there's a lot of wind energy in the atmosphere tonight. And despite it not being prime time, middle of the afternoon, these things can maintain most of their strength coming east. Some subtle weakening, possible. Wouldn't let my guard down, though. These still look pretty mean as they come east. Matthew says it's sunny in Salem, but the wind is picking up. Doug says, I just put the trash bin out on the curb, hope it doesn't blow over. Yeah, could be one of those nights where the trash cans go tumbling. Stephanie asking about possible power outages, and again, I know some people are just now joining the stream. I'm concerned about power outages tonight. The lightning, perhaps striking trees on the ground, and the winds, which can be 50 miles per hour or greater if these storms hold together. So yeah, power outages are going to be a possibility. We've seen a lot of those in central and western Ohio so far today. Bill asking about the strike count on the storms. I did a query on the lightning a few minutes ago. In the last half an hour in the Buckeye State, about 1,500 strikes, about half of those positive voltage. Lots and lots of lightning. All right, whenever we get severe weather, we're doing live coverage. A lot of the comments are, what about this city? What about this city? What about this city? Everyone is in the same boat tonight, no matter what city you live in. It's all a matter of just timing. But the threats are all going to be about the same. So no matter where you are across our area, the threats of wind and lightning and briefly heavy rain, all about equal. The severe weather threat is not higher or lower in any location across our region. It is a matter of timing, and I'm going to occasionally in this streaming coverage do some clock time approximations, as I did a handful of minutes ago. But generally speaking, we're looking at 9 to about 11:30 from west to east across our area. So western parts of our viewing area, that means western Trumbull, western Mahoning, western Columbiana, closer to 9, and then closer to 11 once you get out into far eastern Mercer County, east of I-79. Graphically above my head, the query box is only going to highlight one or two of these warnings, but as you can see with all the orange polygons here, we have warnings up and down this line. Just assume that as this line pushes east, everyone is going to be under a severe thunderstorm warning at some point this evening. In addition to just about everyone at some point being under a warning, right now, everyone is under a severe thunderstorm watch that runs until 1 a.m. That's all the counties in yellow. That's every county in eastern Ohio, western PA. Just a quick reminder of the difference between a watch and a warning. Sometimes it can be confusing. They both start with W. I get it. A watch means conditions are favorable for severe weather. A warning means severe weather is either occurring right now or it's really imminent, and that means you need to take action when a warning is issued. A watch means, have your action plan ready. Start talking about what you might do if you need to spring into action. It means conditions are favorable. A warning means, hey, it's go time. It's time to maybe take some action. Maybe, especially in tornado warning situations, it's time to seek shelter and find the lowest level of your home and get away from the windows in really strong thunderstorms or tornado warning situations. Right now, though, the radar is quiet. Getting more reports of downed trees out into central and east central Ohio, east of Columbus, especially kind of between Columbus and Zanesville. The overall plan here for this evening as far as severe weather coverage goes, this live stream will go on as long as we need it to. If you're watching us on television this evening, stay in regular programming unless there is a tornado warning, which doesn't seem likely, but in the event we have a tornado warning, of course, that takes precedent, and we will always interrupt whatever's on our television stations for tornado warning coverage. Severe thunderstorm warnings, in most situations, we cut in during commercial breaks as to not interrupt programming. However, there are exceptions, and in the worst severe thunderstorm warning situations in which widespread damage is very likely and that sort of thing, maybe we'll go into continuous coverage for that, but that's pretty rare. Generally, our policy, just like most stations across the country, is that tornado warnings, hey, we're on the air constantly. Severe thunderstorm warnings on TV, the cut-ins are a little more intermittent and usually during breaks if we can help it, so we don't interrupt programming. The nice thing about life in 2020 is that you don't need to be on TV to warn people about severe weather. We can do this. We can do the live streaming coverage, and a lot of people can do the dual screen thing and watch the severe weather coverage on their device while also maybe watching their favorite program on TV. Thanks to everyone for joining me this evening. Big crowd here on Facebook. We have 591 viewers right now on Facebook. Chris asking, how does the overall instability look? It's pretty high, despite it being the evening now. If you stepped outside today, it felt like Florida. Really warm, really humid, more like Orlando or Miami. And so these storms have plenty of fuel to feed on. There's also a lot of wind energy. The air parcels will have no trouble rising high enough to create a lot of lightning, some heavy rain. There's enough warm air aloft. The air mass is warm from the ground up many thousand feet that it's going to prevent this from being a big hail problem tonight. Usually you need some colder air at a certain level aloft to cause a lot of hail problems. Some small hail, yes. Big hail doesn't seem all that likely. So it's mostly just about the wind tonight. It's getting windier in Salem, says Matthew. Thank you for that. KP asking, will this be on local TV? I just went through that, talking about when we get some warnings. We'll probably be cutting in during commercial breaks, but we won't do continuous coverage unless we get tornado warnings, more than likely. Thanks everyone for commenting. These go by pretty fast, and so I can't always answer them all, that is for sure. But since we don't have severe weather imminent right now, I do have a little more time than when the warnings are flying here in a little bit. Right now, the nearest county that is under a severe thunderstorm warning is Geauga County. Fresh warning just issued for Geauga County, kind of the northern half of the county, until 9 o'clock. That covers parts of Lake County as well. That's the nearest county that has warnings, but it won't be too much longer before we're going to start getting warnings for Stark County, for Portage County, for Tuscarawas County. Those are coming, probably in the next 15 to 20 minutes or so. Summit County, that's Akron. They're under a warning right now. And so, yeah, just plan on everyone at some point being under a warning this evening. There's nothing to suggest that these are doing any sort of significant weakening as they come east. Let's talk about what kind of wind we're talking about here. Let's bring up the wind data off the Cleveland National Weather Service radar. When you start getting into the pockets of brighter greens, teal colors, yeah, you're getting into some strong winds. And so, for example, just north of Worcester right now, the radar is sampling winds of, let's see, why is that not working? Let's clear that out and try that again. Now, wants to query this severe thunderstorm warning. Why is it doing that? All right, my query tool is being a little bit weird right now, but certainly the winds are stronger than 7 or 29 miles per hour. The winds are probably 50 plus in any counties that are under warnings right now. That includes Cuyahoga, Medina, and down into the Worcester area as well. Akron, probably not seeing the strong winds just yet, but just about to in the next 15 to 20 minutes or so. So we're going to be keeping an eye on this product all evening with the strong winds. Once we get down far enough south, we're closer to the Pittsburgh radar down here, so we can switch radar sources and see what's coming on the edge of the radar here. Strong winds right now west of New Philly out towards what we call Amish country, Millersburg. Big Amish population out there into Holmes County. That stretches down into Cambridge as well. This has been an area that's been a little bit funky this evening. Zanesville, Mount Vernon on north and east, where we've had storms that have tried to spin, and maybe we even had a confirmed tornado. So that's been kind of the exception. The rule has been just wind, and I don't mean to downplay the wind too much, but there's occasionally been some kinks in that line that would suggest that there might be some rotation. But again, that's been the exception. We haven't seen that too often. Here it comes, Akron. Anyone with relatives out towards Akron, down towards Massillon, Canton, Louisville, up to Kent, Ravenna. If they're not paying attention to the weather, they should be. Making sure those outdoor items are secured, because here comes a big line of storms. Colleen asking about the forward speed. It's about 30 to 35 on average as far as the forward speed of these. So they're moving fast enough that flooding is probably not a real big issue. That's a fast enough forward speed that I don't think we'll see a lot of widespread flooding problems. David asking how much will this storm drop the temperatures once the storm has went through? We'll probably drop in most spots from the upper 70s and 80s where we are now, down into the upper 60s. It's going to remain muggy for a handful of hours tonight, but as you get up tomorrow morning, you're going to notice the difference, that is for sure. And we can look kind of upstream here and see what the temperatures have been doing in the wake of this line. We're still hanging on to 85 here locally, but it's down to 73 in Columbus. There's some 60s mixed in as well. The dew points, which were super high today, it was super muggy, they're going to be dropping. There's the drier air. 55 is the dew point now in Indianapolis, 58 Green Bay, and so that's coming our way tomorrow. It's going to feel a lot better tomorrow. Not a lot of people are fans of this level of heat and humidity. A lot of people like some heat and humidity in the summer, but when it gets this high, I don't know a whole lot of people who are real big fans. I'm sure there are some, but I am not one of them. That is for sure. Not a big fan of heat index values in the 90s and instant sweat when you walk outside. All right, so again, people are hopping in and out of the stream. We're getting on early this evening because did want to kind of set the table here before things get too busy with warnings. And I'm sure we're going to have a bunch of warnings coming up as we go into the 9 o'clock hour and into the 10 o'clock hour. I think kind of 9 to 11:15, 11:30, that's going to be our busiest time of the night. No doubt we're going to be talking about weather right at the top on 21 News tonight at 11 o'clock, with weather leading the newscast, because I still think we'll have some warnings and some storms around, and that's almost 3 hours from now. They may be mostly focused in western PA at 11 o'clock. We may be pretty much in the clear in our Ohio counties by 11. The severe thunderstorm watch runs until 1, but I do think the severe weather threat is over by then. In fact, quite a bit before then, especially in Ohio. Typically, severe thunderstorm watches, they give themselves plenty of runway with those. In other words, they run usually quite a bit longer than the severe weather threat is likely to exist. The reasoning for that, you don't want to have a severe thunderstorm watch be discontinued or expire and then severe weather start ramping back up again. So they want to make sure that they cover it all. So this severe thunderstorm watch, every county in yellow, all of eastern Ohio, all of western PA, technically runs until 1. I do think the severe weather threat is over in most spots by midnight, maybe even 11:30 in western PA. In our Ohio counties, Trumbull, Mahoning, Columbiana, maybe pretty much done by 11 or so, with the relatively fast forward speed of these storms. There are warnings up and down this line. New warning coming soon, no doubt, for Stark County. Parts of Tuscarawas County now in the warning. That's around I-77 south of Canton. And warnings extend through Cambridge and all the way down. In fact, there's a tornado warning right along the Ohio River, kind of on the Kentucky-Ohio border. Tornado warning way down there, almost into Kentucky. This part of the line, kind of right here, around Cambridge, this has been something we've been keeping an eye on through the last few hours. There's been a couple of tornado warnings issued for that segment of the line because there's been a little bending on the radar, indications of possible rotation. I've even seen some chatter that there may have actually even been a tornado off to the west of where the storm is now, in central and east central Ohio early on this evening. So that's something that has been occurring occasionally, not seeing any evidence of that necessarily right now. We're kind of in a radar dead zone once you get down towards Cambridge, pretty far from the Pittsburgh radar, certainly really far from the Cleveland radar, and also pretty far from the Wilmington, Ohio radar, which covers a lot of southwest Ohio. So once you get down towards that I-70 and 77 interchange, you're really in a radar dead zone down there. Lots of strong winds moving through the Route 30 corridor right now, west of Canton, making a beeline towards Canton, making a beeline towards Akron. Severe thunderstorm warning also in effect for parts of Cuyahoga County, Geauga County, Lake County as well, the Cleveland metro area. Let's talk about the difference between strong and severe thunderstorms. Severe thunderstorms have a definition. When we say storms may be severe, we're usually talking about wind and or hail. And the winds need to be 58 miles per hour or greater, and or the hail needs to be 1 inch in diameter or larger for a storm to technically be severe. If the storm produces a tornado, even if you don't have a lot of wind or hail, then it's a severe thunderstorm as well. But typically, if you have a storm that's producing a tornado, it's probably producing the other things as well. Strong thunderstorms can also be problematic. You can still have some power outages and some problems in storms that technically aren't severe, but it typically means if they're not severe that the winds are below 60 miles per hour and the hail is more conversational hail. below 1 inch in diameter, typically, when we're talking about the difference between strong and severe thunderstorms. In case you're just joining us, I showed the lightning display earlier, and graphically we like to differentiate between positive voltage lightning strikes and negative voltage lightning strikes. All lightning carries a voltage, and that means it's dangerous. But the ones that have positive strikes tend to hit more things on the ground. They tend to have a higher voltage, and while they're a little rarer, or more rare, than negative voltage strikes, they are pretty dangerous. And they also can strike out of the blue. Sometimes bolts that have a positive voltage will come kind of out of the, what we call the anvil of the cloud, and strike pretty far from where the storm actually is. We've seen lightning strikes from the top of a thundercloud strike things many miles away from the storm. And that's sometimes how people get into trouble on lakes if they're fishing, or maybe they're on a beach or something like that. They might get into a little bit of trouble because the storm is 15 miles away, but you get a bolt out of the blue from the top of the storm, and it might strike the water, it might strike the boat. That's how some people, unfortunately, get into some trouble. And speaking of lightning, while we're on the subject, it may interest you to know that the number one way in which people are killed by lightning is while fishing. A lot of problems on water, of course, with lightning, and fishing and the beach. That's tops on the list. Golf, surprisingly, is not higher. It's still not great to be on a golf course with metal golf clubs, but it is on the list, but towards the bottom. Fishing, beach camping, boating, a lot of things that involve the water are big problems when we talk about summertime, springtime, summertime lightning events. All right, resetting once again. I'm going to do this several times because I know that not everyone's going to watch me babble for a half an hour at a time. We're still a little ways away from severe weather impacting most of our television viewing area. Now, I know some people can get us with an over-the-air antenna west of our true television viewing area, and even as far west as Canton, you can get us with a good antenna. And so you might be interested that storms are bearing down on the Canton area right now. It's plowing through Akron. Severe thunderstorm warning down into parts of Tuscarawas County as well. And actually they mentioned that there may be a little bit of rotation trying to reemerge with this part of the storm that's down towards New Cumberstown, southwest of New Philly. All right, there's a new warning for Geauga and Portage until 9:15. So we're starting to get our adjacent counties joining in on the warning fun here. Portage County under a warning because of this line that's moving through Akron right now. It includes Kent and points north up towards Hiram, Streetsboro as well. Going to get all of Geauga now in a warning. Stark's not under a warning yet, but that'll change here probably by 8:30 or so. Janice says it's getting darker in Austintown, no doubt. Getting darker in Boardman, says Jim. Yeah, we have those storm clouds approaching from the west. All right, so we haven't done some clock times in a while, and I'm getting some questions about that. Occasionally I'm going to do these, and during live streaming coverage I get a lot of, what about this town, what about this town, what about this town, what about this town? The thread is the same everywhere. The thread is not higher or lower anywhere tonight. Everyone's in the same boat. It's just a matter of timing. And let's time this out once again. We did this a little while ago. We'll do it again now. These are moving. Let's look at the latest severe thunderstorm warning and see what they put the forward speed at. See, they have that new warning out for Portage and southern Geauga as they have the forward speed as 50. It's a little bit faster than some of the other warnings. Let's bump up our estimated forward speed to, say, 40 miles per hour. And based on that 40 mile per hour speed, let's do our storm track like that. All right, so you're not going to see every city in the world on here. The map would be too busy. but look for the nearest city to you and kind of extrapolate. Western part of our TV viewing area, this is probably pretty close to 9 to 9:15. I would put in that Newton Falls, Berlin, Sebring, Beloit, Craig Beach, down towards Damascus, Hanoverton, New Franklin, and down into Salineville as well. Again, western areas. Kind of the heart of our Ohio counties, the middle of Trumbull, the middle of Mahoning, middle of Columbiana. So from Lisbon up to Columbiana, up to Boardman, Canfield, Poland, Youngstown, Austintown, up to Warren, up to Niles, up to Girard, up into Cortland, kind of all those places I just mentioned. You know, we're probably looking at during the 9 o'clock hour, 9:15 to 9:45. So about an hour from now, hour 15 minutes or so from now. Near the Ohio-PA border, think East Liverpool, think East Palestine, think as you head up towards Sharon, Wheatland, West Middlesex, Yankee Lake, Kinsman, all of those places, you know, you're probably looking at between 9:30 and 10 on average. And then once you're over into Newcastle, New Wilmington, Mercer, heading up towards New Lebanon, probably 10 to 10:30 or so. And if these things are indeed getting a little bit faster, you know, we might be done. The show may be over by 11. The severe thunderstorm watch runs until 1, but, you know, if these things are moving right now at 45 to 50 miles per hour, you know, we're probably out of the woods by 11 to, at the latest, 11:15 or so. So we'll be keeping an eye on the forward speed, and again, I'll continue to do these updated storm tracks throughout our streaming coverage this evening, but this will give you a general idea as to some clock times. Now, the worst of the weather in any one backyard, in any one neighborhood, is not going to last all that long because these things are moving along. So it's going to rain like crazy, vivid lightning, and probably some pretty strong winds in your location for maybe 15, 20 minutes. And after that, you're still going to have some lightning and it's still going to be raining for a while. But the worst of it, when it's really intense, 15, 20 minutes at the most. So this will not be, you know, the kind of situation which is going to storm all night and be a problem all night. This is going to come and do its thing and get out of here pretty quickly. Hearing thunder in Austintown, says Gina. That's pretty impressive considering the storms are pretty far away. You know, if you, as the crow flies from Austintown, you know, our storms are 32, 33 miles away. So that's pretty impressive to hear the thunder. And that just goes to show you that this is intense lightning. A lot of lightning is going to produce a lot of thunder. And the intensity of the lightning and also the degree in which we have a lot of positive voltage strikes means that this lightning may be jumping out of these clouds a little farther east than the actual storms are, and that's why you might be hearing some thunder already into parts of Mahoning County with the storm still a ways away, you know, a good 35 miles away. So that's interesting that we are hearing some thunder now in the Austintown area. Thanks to Gina for mentioning that. Janet says the wind is picking up in Southington. Yeah, it's been breezy a lot of the day, and the wind's going to continue to pick up ahead of this line. All right, here we go. First warning of the evening for our area. It is parts of Columbiana. So let's bring this up graphically. And it's the far, far western end of Columbiana. This is in effect until 9:15. And as you can see, we've got some time before this arrives. And so this severe thunderstorm warning is in effect till 9:15, but nothing is imminent in Hanoverton over towards New Franklin near the Stark County border. So parts of Columbiana County, and a pretty small part, just the far western end of Columbiana, now under a severe thunderstorm warning until 9:15. It includes all of Carroll County and parts of Tuscarawas County as well. Corey says on the west side of Youngstown, hearing some distant thunder. Yeah, this thunder is being heard from pretty far away from where the storms are. That's pretty impressive. Hearing thunder in Hermitage, could something be popping up, asks Karina. And the answer to that is no. This is thunder that you're hearing from really far away. The radar is quiet. Let me take off the warnings and show you that, yeah, there's nothing on the radar across most of our area. In fact, all of our TV viewing area right now. So the thunder you're hearing is from storms that are pretty far away. These storms, you know, are a good 30 to as much as 45 miles away from where thunder may be being heard right now. That is pretty impressive. Now, you can hear thunder from pretty far distances. That's stretching it a little bit. As far as the farthest away I've ever witnessed thunder from a storm, but it's not unheard of. This is video. I'm going to show this on my Facebook and YouTube streams here. Let's get rid of the camera. This is video shared on Twitter. Someone tagged me of possible tornado near Marion earlier on. You can see some transformer flashes there. And yeah, probably some rotation. This was earlier on in central Ohio. So that was, yeah, quite possibly a tornado earlier on this evening. And that was shared with me on Twitter, and it looks like someone that works at WSYX down in Columbus tweeted that a little while ago. All right, so severe weather still not really imminent in our true television viewing area. We got on this live stream a while ago because we wanted to just set the table and get things ready for you with a mid to late evening storm situation. You know, some people are going to be heading to bed before too much longer, and so we did want to make sure that you're in the loop and in the know and fully apprised as to what's going on before maybe kind of disconnecting for the evening. Threats tonight: wind. It's mostly just all about the wind and the possibility that we're going to have some power outages as a result. Make sure those devices are charged. Also, before you go to bed tonight, make sure any loose objects outdoors are secured. Make sure that trampoline isn't going to fly away. If it's your trash night, make sure those trash cans are as secure as they can be, or maybe wait till tomorrow morning if you can to put out the trash. Getting pictures now, and I'll hop over and show you once again. This is from Sandusky, out near Cedar Point, of a theater being destroyed earlier on today due to the wind. Look at all that brick. Wow. So these are pictures of severe damage. This is out towards Sandusky, if you know where Cedar Point is, northwest Ohio, well west of Cleveland. So, wow. There's been some pretty bad damage in parts of Michigan, Indiana, and western Ohio so far today. For those watching the stream on the app or our website, I apologize I can't easily show those images with you. I can do it a little easier on the live stream that's airing on Facebook and YouTube right now, but I've been showing a few pictures I've gotten in video of damage, including a possible tornado earlier on this evening in parts of central Ohio. Right now we have no active tornado warnings out. With this line coming east, it's all a whole bunch of severe thunderstorm warnings along the entire line. And if you're watching this with an interest in the Youngstown area, or if you can watch us on TV, if you're in our TV viewing area, even the adjacent counties to our TV viewing area, at some point you're going to be under a severe thunderstorm warning this evening. There's almost no doubt, because there's been warnings up and down this line for the last several hours. There's been no break from the warnings. Everywhere where this line is tracked, there's been severe thunderstorm warnings, and these are big polygons the Weather Service is drawing. That's a warning they just issued for the very western tip of Columbiana County. That's a warning polygon box that extends all the way back to New Philly. That's a big box. So they're not wasting any time here. They're just drawing big fat polygons. And you're going to see that probably more so in our area here as we get closer to 9 o'clock. Maybe entire counties will just be put under warnings, which doesn't happen often these days, but when you get a squall line in which the weather is not going to be all that variable along the line, it's all going to be about the same, they can issue big warning polygons because there's not a whole lot of nuance involved in these kinds of warnings when you have a big squall line. Aaron asking the warning for Columbiana, what's the threat? The threat is the same as with all these storms this evening, Aaron, and it's just for the western part of Columbiana. The rest of Columbiana eventually will be put under a warning, and it's the wind tonight. Winds gusting to 50 miles per hour or higher, resulting in possible power outages. The combination of the wind and all the lightning will pose a power outage threat. Briefly heavy rain as well. And that western Columbiana warning runs until 9:15, but the rest of Columbiana, Mahoning, Trumbull, and our western PA counties as well, almost a guarantee at this point that there's going to be additional warnings before the evening is through. Chuck is watching and listening to his ham radio. Appreciate our ham radio operators, our radio enthusiasts. Got a lot of those around our area. Mackenzie says Cuyahoga Falls currently getting hit. Yeah, no doubt about that. They are under a warning. Yeah, make sure that your sunroof is not open tonight. Make sure your windows are closed on your car. Make sure as these storms approach that your windows in your house are not fully open, especially if they face west, because you'll be letting some water in, no doubt. This is going to be wind-driven rain as it pushes in tonight. A lot of wind with these storms. And you can see that here on our wind product. Basically what you're looking at here, the reds and the greens, if you're new to this idea, modern radars can tell in what direction the wind is blowing and how fast the wind is blowing. And where you see red colors, that's wind blowing away from the Cleveland radar. The Cleveland radar, see that beam circling there, that line? Cleveland radar is kind of behind this box right here. It's right here, just west of downtown Cleveland. That's where the radar site is. So anything in red is blowing away from that radar. All the green colors are blowing towards that radar site. And so that's why you see the switch from green to red once you get into a certain area. And the brighter the colors are, the stronger the winds. When you get into the brighter reds or the brighter greens and into the teals and blues, that's really strong wind. The closer you are to the radar beam or the radar site, the lower in the atmosphere that radar beam is sampling. As the radar beam leaves the radar, because the Earth is curved, that beam, as it goes out farther and farther from the radar, is gaining in elevation. So by the time, whether it's the Cleveland National Weather Service radar or the Pittsburgh National Weather Service radar, by the time that beam is over a lot of our area around Youngstown and surrounding areas, it's at least a few thousand feet up. So that means the radar beam is sampling the storm, not near the ground, but up a few thousand feet. That can matter in some circumstances. Sometimes we can assume whatever is happening a few thousand feet above our heads is going to be pretty representative of what's going on here at the ground. Sometimes that's not the case, but that's one of the challenges of life between two radars. But experienced meteorologists can kind of interpret the data correctly and can kind of, in most cases, communicate what's really going on. The radars are a big help, but they're not going to be the be-all, end-all. Right now, it looks like the strongest winds actually are up here heading into Geauga County around Russell. This is getting up into the heart of the snow belt in the winter, of course. And yeah, we're probably getting some winds up here in these yellow colors of 60 plus miles per hour. Yeah, that looks like it's no fun at all. All right, so let's do a loop on the radar here and show you the situation. These storms are a booking, moving at between probably 40 and 50 miles per hour at this point. Worst of the weather is going to occur in our true television viewing area here in the 9 and 10 o'clock hours. It's going to come and go pretty fast. That's going to reduce the risk of flooding. But everyone's going to have a wind threat, everyone's going to have a power outage threat, everyone's going to have a lightning threat. There's a lot of positive voltage strikes mixed in with this. Sean says, wait, the Earth isn't flat. Despite what some people might believe. Yes, indeed. Christy asking what time will be safe to put the kids to bed. We've talked about the time a lot this evening, and I'm not sure where you are. But again, western part of our viewing area, western Mahoning, Columbiana, Trumbull, 9 o'clock, 9:15. Middle of our viewing area, 9:15, 9:30 or so. Into western PA, closer to 10 to 10:30 or so, based on the current speeds. Look at all those warnings. I mean, the entire line has warnings on it. We launched this live stream a little before 8 o'clock, almost an hour ago, and we got on pretty early this evening because I did want to, again, kind of set the table and get the stream up and running, have all my ducks in a row before things got too busy, because it's going to get pretty busy for me here in the next couple of hours. Probably have to do a couple of cut-ins on the TV side during commercial breaks with severe thunderstorm warnings, in addition to keeping the live stream. And I'm flying solo tonight, so I'm going to have some plates in the air here before too much longer. So I wanted to make sure that the streams were up and everything was working correctly. It's a lot of buttons to push to get all this stuff working correctly. That's for sure. Someone messaging me on Facebook saying she can't see me on the feed and comment. Hopefully she likes my page. You might have to like the page in order to watch and comment. I'm not sure. But no one else seems to be having any problems, at least none reported. Casey saying down in Dover in Tuscarawas County the power is out. Yeah, Tuscarawas County getting slammed right now from Midvale and Uricksville up towards Dover, New Philly, and then up into Stark County as well. Stark County now under a warning. Portage County now under a warning. Down into Carroll County. All the adjacent counties just to our west are now under warnings. And the extreme western part of Columbiana County is under a severe thunderstorm warning until 9:15 this evening. And here comes a whole lot of wind coming out of New Philly right now, and this is coming into Carrollton, into Delroy, the Atwood Lake region, Sherrodsville, and this is going to end up before too much longer, probably towards 9 o'clock or so, coming into Salineville and areas along Route 39, and eventually up towards Guilford Lake and Hanoverton and Lisbon and New Franklin. That looks pretty nasty coming out of New Philly right now. Nasty storms coming across Kent right now, heading down towards Massillon, and then right down 21 towards New Philly. The sky is darkening quickly because, of course, it's sunset soon, but also dark clouds are approaching from the west. Patty says charge all your devices, and that's a good plan. Plan for the possibility of power outages tonight. They may only last 15 minutes in some spots, but you might go hours. It's hard to say. Power outages are obviously pretty unpredictable, and yeah, making sure things are charged up right now is a good idea before we start getting into this wind. have more video to show you here of the damage out in Sandusky, and I know this is pretty far away from our area, but interesting nonetheless. This is similar to what I showed earlier on of the pretty extensive damage out into the Sandusky area, including a theater. Look at all those bricks. Car damage as well, with all the bricks falling. Yeah, it looks like it was quite nasty. Look at all that. Again, this is Sandusky, Ohio, out in northwest Ohio, near where, of course, Cedar Point is. A lot of us have made the trek out to Sandusky, to Cedar Point, and they got it bad. All right, I think my immediate concern for our TV viewing area is where the warning is out in western Columbiana County, because this looks pretty nasty to me, coming out of Tuscarawas County right now. Let's switch over to the Pittsburgh radar. We'll look at the wind velocity data. There we go. Yeah, look at all that teal coming out of New Philly, Midvale, Denison, Uricksville, and coming into Carroll County right now. This is probably a ball of wind of 50 plus miles per hour, perhaps even 60 plus miles per hour, coming out of Tuscarawas County and coming into parts of Carroll County right now. That's where I think our attention will be most focused in the next 20 minutes or so. The wind looks strong off to the north, but maybe not quite as strong. Let's switch to the Cleveland radar here. Stark County up to Portage County. Strong winds, maybe borderline severe. Probably pretty legit severe winds, though, once you get down into this segment of the line that's exiting Tuscarawas County right now and heading into Carroll County as we speak. I want to do a little more investigating here of a portion of the line in Stark County, south of Canton, near Canton South High School. This is pretty, I wouldn't say significant at all, but it is interesting, and we'll see what the next couple of scans have. Maybe some rotation trying to form here. South of Canton, North Industry, right down I-77. You have some pixels that are brighter red and next to green, and yeah, we just got a new scan there. This is starting to look a little bit interesting. Let's slow down this loop. I'm talking about the segment of the line that's right here. Might have a little bit of convergence of our greens and reds going on there, suggesting that there might try to be some subtle rotation right now in Stark County, south of downtown Canton. Gotta watch that. Weather Service in Cleveland says they don't think it's a real feature in Stark. Good surge into southwest Portage, so could be some outflow issues down there. So the Weather Service is not real concerned right now about this feature. All right, fair enough. Doesn't look that impressive to me, but interesting enough to mention and look at. So we'll just see what the next few scans bring. My brother-in-law over in North Canton says some minor lightning and rain starting over there. That's in North Canton, kind of between Canton and Louisville. where my sister and brother-in-law live. All this is coming east at about between 40 and 50 miles per hour. If you're just joining the live stream and have some questions about, hey, is this going to hit this town or this town or this town? The answer is yes. Everyone's going to get thunderstorms here before the evening is through. It's just a matter of the timing. This is moving west to east or southwest to northeast and moving it between 40 and 50 miles per hour. So again, western areas will get it first, eastern areas will get it last, but everyone is going to see some thunderstorm activity before the evening is through, and they could even be strong or severe. Let's do a fresh storm track, and we'll say 40 miles per hour as a kind of maybe a conservative estimate here of the forward speed. It may be a little faster than this. So again, we're talking 9 o'clock or so, 9:15, far western areas. Think near the Portage Trumbull line, near the Portage Mahoning line, near the Stark Mahoning Columbiana line. You're talking probably 9 to 9:30 in that zone. Heart of our viewing area, Lisbon, up towards Columbiana, Boardman, Poland, Struthers, Austintown, Youngstown, up into Niles, up into Warren, up into Girard, up into Cortland, 9 o'clock hour, and in some places probably more towards 9:30 to 9:45. And then across the state line into western PA as we head towards 10 o'clock, and we may be out of the woods as early as 11. This might clear eastern Mercer and eastern Lawrence by 11 o'clock. In case you're unaware and are just joining the stream, everyone's under a severe thunderstorm watch in yellow until 1 a.m. But oftentimes these watches are given a lot of runway. In other words, they usually expire well past the time in which the severe weather threat is likely to end. So I would expect this watch to be discontinued before 1 a.m. But technically the watch runs until 1. But it's going to be a bumpy ride next couple of hours. No doubt about it. Take another look at that feature in Stark County that the Weather Service is not real concerned about. You know, it was kind of this thing right here where you get some greens next to reds, not a real strong signature at all. Some weather apps are going to ping this graphically as what's called a TDS, tornado debris signature. You know, some apps are a little more sensitive than others. A trained eye will look at this and be a little interested, but wouldn't say, oh, that's a tornado, because I don't think that's the case. And the Weather Service also is of that opinion, that this is an interesting looking feature, but any rotation is probably weak and aloft at best. But we are going to continue watching it. At this point, there's almost no hail with this, and if there is, it's just pea size. You don't need to take any precautions because of hail in most circumstances tonight. You don't have to be worried about your vehicle getting dinged up if it's outside. There might be some small hail, but not the kind that's going to cause any big issues. It's the wind and the lightning tonight, and the threat for power outages that we've been talking about all day, and that is the big concern tonight. So the only warning we have as of this very second, 9:49, is for western parts of Columbiana County. There it is graphically, far western Columbiana, from Hanover to non-west towards the Stark border, but surely more warnings are coming before too much longer for the rest of our area. What a day it's been, though. This has been a big-ticket severe weather day. Look at all the damage reports stretching from central and western Ohio back through Indiana up into Michigan. That moderate risk product that was issued by the Storm Prediction Center earlier today for parts of Michigan, northwest Ohio, northeast Indiana, it's certainly verified. That was a warranted moderate risk. You don't get a lot of moderate risks in our part of the country. A couple times a year, maybe. The Cleveland National Weather Service office has not had a moderate risk in their area since 2016 until today. So it's fairly rare to get that level of a severe weather risk. Good forecast from the Storm Prediction Center today, because look at all the damage that has occurred. Zoom all the way into our area. Right now things are quiet. Interesting, little cell has tried to pop up. Just a lone ranger here around Masury and Farrell and Sharon and Sharpsville. Nothing crazy there, but just a lone ranger little shower, little preview of things to come ahead of that main scary looking line. More reports of wind damage off to our west, Zanesville area. There's a lot of problems today east of Columbus, especially, it seems, along 70 and around I-70 from Columbus on east. More chatter in our National Weather Service chat room about this possible feature out here, East Canton, Louisville. Probably not anything significant in terms of rotation right now, but maybe a downburst. Yeah, maybe some downburst action there, but nothing too concerning as far as rotation goes based on the current radar out in Stark County. The part of the line that has had a history of occasionally trying to be a little bit frisky as far as rotation goes has been kind of this bulge that's coming out of Tuscarawas County now, pushing into western Carroll County. Don't see any signs of any rotation of significance right now, just a lot of wind. Sherrodsville. Boy, that's no fun on 39 right now, from New Philly to Sherrodsville, heading over towards Carrollton, and eventually heading over towards Salineville. That's going to be rough sledding here, it looks like, for the next half an hour or so. All those teal colors are really strong winds. Going to real quickly post on social media, because I haven't done that for a little while here with the live stream up and running. So bear with me while I post a quick social media post here. All right, we are back. Got to keep feeding the beast, you know. Got to keep everybody informed who's not watching the stream. Everybody on Facebook and Twitter who aren't watching the stream, got to keep them informed. Tom asking, I wonder what the improvements the next 30 years will bring in meteorology. Boy, good question. Last 30 years have been incredible. And I've been a meteorologist now for almost 19 years, and just the last 19 years have been incredible. Can't imagine what things will look like 30 years from now. Judy says her husband took the front porch flag down. Good move. Wind blowing pretty good in Warren. Good move. Sheila asking any concerns for Mahoning County. The concern is the same everywhere, Sheila. Everyone's going to get storms here in the next couple of hours. Wind and lightning are the chief threats, and that could conspire to produce a widespread power outage event. Again, especially as we get into the 9 and 10 o'clock hours. So again, if you're just joining us, everyone's going to see thunderstorms. I think everyone's going to be under a severe thunderstorm warning at some point. In some areas, it'll be before too much longer. And the threats, wind and a lot of lightning and some briefly heavy rain, but it's not going to last that long in any one location. Probably 15 to 20 minutes for the worst of the storm. It'll rain for a little bit and still thunder and stew around for a little bit. And then it'll be much quieter overnight, and we've got a much, much better day coming up tomorrow. Just had a picture shared with me on Twitter. Garrettsville heading towards Champion. Ominous looking sky. Dark clouds approaching from the west. That is indeed quite ominous. Right now, the only warning for our TV viewing area is in western Columbiana County. But again, there's going to be many more warnings coming pretty soon. Right now, that warning has another 18 minutes on it in Hanoverton and Points West. But you bet, in a lot of the rest of Columbiana County, we're going to go under a new warning here before too much longer. It's no doubt getting really windy right now in Carrollton with vivid lightning and heavy rain, one doozy of a thunderstorm moving through Carrollton right now. All these teal colors, that's a lot of wind. And it's coming like this, coming across 39 towards Salineville, and 9 up towards Hanoverton in western Columbiana County. That corridor is going to get slammed. Outside of that, the wind doesn't look quite as impressive. Once you get up, and I'm going to switch radar sources here up to the Cleveland radar, it doesn't look quite as impressive right now in Stark County and into Portage County. A little more impressive once you get up into lakeshore areas, Lake County, heading down towards Geauga County as well. And yeah, I mentioned a little while ago, we have one little shower, one lone ranger out here in parts of Mercer County right now. That is not the main line. That is just a random shower that's popped well ahead of the main line. We've had a lot of reports of thunder being heard from some places that are pretty far away from that main line. So that just goes to show you just how much lightning is being produced. It's already pretty breezy out there ahead of the line of storms. It's been a breezy day, but the winds are starting to pick up even more this evening. And we haven't seen anything yet as far as the wind goes with that line of storms approaching from the west. Not sure where this picture is from, but it was shared with me on Facebook by Mary. Possible shelf cloud, darkening skies coming in. All right, here's another warning. This one covers Ashtabula, Geauga, Lake Portage, and Trumbull. So let's head over and talk about that. Let's bring that up graphically. All right, it's all of Trumbull County. So if you're watching from Trumbull County, you are now under a severe thunderstorm warning until 9:45 this evening. 9:45, severe thunderstorm warning for Trumbull County. No warning yet in Mahoning County, but hang in there. You'll be under a warning here before a whole lot longer. All right, so that's the new warning issued by the National Weather Service office in Cleveland. Cleveland NWS covers Trumbull and Mahoning. The Pittsburgh National Weather Service office covers Columbiana, Lawrence, and Mercer. What I mean by covers, it means that's the office that's responsible for issuing the warnings for those counties. I'll strip off the warning information here and just give you a broad view of the loop so you can get a sense as to the scope of this big mean line of thunderstorms. Now, the question is this holding its strength? And for the most part, I would say yes. I don't see a whole lot of signs of any significant weakening. Is it going to be as problematic and produce as much wind damage as it did earlier today in northwest Ohio, central Ohio? Probably not, but let's not let our guard down. This can still be a bit of a problem here, more than a bit even, for some areas, as we head through the next couple of hours. We've got you covered here on the live stream, though, whether you're watching on WFMJ.com, the Storm Tracker 21 app, Facebook, YouTube, we've got you covered. Joe on Twitter says, distant rumble of thunder and flashes not far away, flashes of lightning not far away from Boardman. Kelly says, tornado risk still low. Yes, still not zero, but still low. All right, so again, everyone's kind of in the same boat here. This is not one of those summertime hit or miss situations in which a downpour occurs here and 5 miles to the east the sun is out. This is what we call a squall line of thunderstorms that is coming east, northeast pretty quickly. And we're going to be dealing with this for the next couple of hours, hour and a half to 2 hours. I think we're pretty much out of the woods by 11 or so. We're going to go on the air on 21 News at 11. And be a little bit more in kind of recap mode, if you will, at that point, showing you what has happened. And we've got a much better forecast starting tomorrow for sure. The rain, as long as we don't have flooding issues, and I don't think we'll have too many tonight, the rain's actually pretty good news. We've got a pretty dry looking weather pattern coming up, and I'm starting to become a little bit more concerned about some yards browning up and it getting kind of dry around here as we go into the second half of June, especially. So, this rain, as long as it doesn't cause problems and is too much at one time, it can be some good news because there's very few opportunities for rain beyond tonight in the next 7 or 8 days, it looks like. I want to keep a close eye on the surge that's moving through Carroll County right now. This looks pretty intense. I haven't seen any ground truth as to what's actually happened out towards Carrollton, but no doubt a new warning is coming very shortly for a lot of the rest of Columbiana County. This is easily the most concerning looking bulge of wind that we have out there right now. Burgles, bearing down on Salineville right now and moving through the Carrollton area. This is going to impact a lot of, especially southern Columbiana County, southern and eastern eventually. And this, to me, right now, in the near term, looks to be the biggest severe weather threat of the evening so far. What's making a beeline towards Columbiana County. It doesn't look quite as intense off to the north. But yeah, this is pretty mean looking. So if you live in Columbiana County, get ready. Make sure that you are ready for the possibility of some strong winds and perhaps some power issues as a result of those strong winds. Because all that teal that's surging northeast, that's a lot of wind. And this could be 60 plus mile per hour wind gusts. So get ready, whether you're in the far southwestern corner of the county towards Salineville, or if you're up towards Lisbon, Elk Run, Rogers, heading down towards Laycroft, East Liverpool, Calcutta, Glenmore, all those places, you got to be ready for this. It's coming. And I think that's going to be our biggest severe weather risk, perhaps of the entire evening, but certainly in the near term, what's coming out of Carroll County right now. We don't want to see all those teals on our wind velocity data on the radar. You do enough talking and your lips are going to get chapped. Chapstick comes in handy. right, one more quick look through my Facebook comments here. Jessica from Carrollton says the wind and lightning strong and intense. Put up your house plants. Yeah, good move. Thanks to Jessica and Carrollton for giving me some ground truth as to what has been going on out there. Casey in Guilford Lake says thunder and lightning to the southwest. Yep. Again, thanks to everyone for giving me the ground truth here. Jeff says, have a beer, Eric. Boy, that's a tease. Boy, I wish. Unfortunately, it's been a long day. It's going to be a long next couple of hours. Maybe a beer later on. The busiest part of the whole evening is upcoming here in the 9 o'clock hour, the 10 o'clock hour. We're going to have a whole bunch of warnings. We're going to have some strong winds. And again, especially concerned right now about the southern edge of this. The bulge of wind and lightning and rain that's coming out of Carroll County and coming into Columbiana County. Severe thunderstorm warning, no doubt, imminent for the rest of Columbiana County. Pretty soon, Mahoning will probably get put under a warning. And if you're watching from Mercer and Lawrence, you'll get your turn here eventually, probably as we head towards the top of the hour, towards 10 o'clock to 10:30. Over towards Mercer and Lawrence counties. And there she goes. Severe thunderstorm warning for Columbiana County. So there it is, the rest of the county. I was as good as my word. Rest of the county now under a severe thunderstorm warning. All right, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to step away from the live stream momentarily. I'm going to do a quick cut in on the TV side. So you're going to hear me in the background doing that. Stick with us here on the live stream. I'm not going away for the evening. I'm just going to make sure our TV viewers are up to date on what's going on. So that's what's going to be going on in the background. So hang with us here on the live stream. Okay, I'm back here on the live stream, everyone. Let's get back on camera. We're setting up a television cut-in here for hopefully before too much longer because, yeah, we're starting to get busy. Starting to get some severe thunderstorm warnings now for all of our Ohio counties, all of Columbiana County, all of Mahoning County, all of Trumbull County under a severe thunderstorm warning at this point. The Mahoning County warning runs until 10. The Columbiana County warning runs until 9:30. The Trumbull County warning runs until 9:45. Most concerned about what's coming into Columbiana County right now. Big, heavy storm with a lot of wind coming into Hanoverton, coming into Summitville, coming into Salineville. And this is coming towards Lisbon, and eventually, well, just about the rest of Columbiana County as well. That is, at this point, I think the most dangerous looking part of this whole setup. And when we look at the wind velocity data coming in off the Pittsburgh National Weather Service radar, I'm going to slow down the loop here. Yeah, see all that teal or blues coming out of Carroll County into Columbiana County? That's a burst of wind of at least 50, perhaps even 60 miles per hour that's coming into southwestern Columbiana County right now. Where we have the other warnings up into Mahoning and into Trumbull, the wind threat maybe not quite as high as it is down in Columbiana County, but it's still high enough that they're going to warn for this. There's going to be severe thunderstorm warnings that have already been issued and run for a while longer. And eventually, again, we're going to see some warnings coming to western PA as we get closer to 10. All right, so I'm going to go see when we're getting on TV here, and I'll be right back here on the live stream. Okay, I'm back on. Yep. Good evening, everyone. It's 21 News Chief Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm. A quick cut in here to talk about the severe weather moving through the area. Severe thunderstorm warnings out for Trumbull, Mahoning, and Columbiana County. Especially down into Columbiana County, we are concerned about the wind that's coming into Salineville and Hanoverton right now. It's making a beeline towards Lisbon. We have live streaming coverage continuing on the 21 Storm Tracker app as well as WFMJ.com/weather. You got my mic back in for the stream. Thank you. All right, we're back here on the live stream. I just did a little business here on the television side of things. Did cut into programming just briefly, and now now we're going to go to a tornado warning for Columbiana. Well, we're going to get back on TV then. All right. For a chunk of Columbiana, we now have a tornado warning out. There it is graphically, and now I've got to get on TV. Yeah, max 1 with my mic, please. All right, good evening once again, everyone. It's 21 News Chief Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm. We're back on the air because we now have a tornado warning for parts of Columbiana County. This includes the Hanoverton area heading up towards Salem and Columbiana as well. It's this area in the box, and I'll draw it for you and draw your attention to it. It's this box right here. This is the tornado warning. It's not for all of Columbiana County, but a portion of Columbiana County this evening. This is a big burst of wind that's coming northeast through Columbiana, and there's some signs of maybe some rotation embedded within that line. That line continues pushing to the north and east. The rotation at this point is pretty subtle. I wouldn't say this is a strong rotational signature. We would want to see brighter reds next to brighter greens for a strong rotation signature. I would say the signature right now is fairly subtle, but it is enough that the National Weather Service office in Pittsburgh did issue a tornado warning for parts of Columbiana County. That warning runs until 9:30, so about 15 more minutes on that warning. So that's the reason why we are now on the TV side of things. We'll continue to stay on as long as this tornado warning is in effect. So Columbiana, Latonia, over to Salem as well. That's where the tornado warning is out until 9:30. Outside of this tornado warning, we have severe thunderstorm warnings out this evening for all of Columbiana, all of Mahoning, and all of Trumbull counties. The worst of the wind, though, is down in Columbiana County. All this brighter green and teal that you see down into the Salineville area along 39, and again, coming in this direction, that is wind of at least 50 miles per hour, perhaps even 60 miles per hour, coming to the north and east. The warning is out for Columbiana County, not for Mahoning County. It comes up to the Mahoning County border, but it is in effect for parts of Columbiana County, just in that box I drew for you a moment ago. And let's head back up and draw that for you once again. We're going to draw your attention to this polygon box right here. This is where there's enough subtle rotation in that band that we did see the National Weather Service office out of Pittsburgh issue a tornado warning, which runs for another 13 minutes until 9:30 this evening. We've been doing live continuous coverage on social media, including my Facebook channel and my YouTube channel, as well as WFMJ.com and the Storm Tracker 21 app this evening. We've been doing that coverage for a while now. That coverage continues and will continue for a while longer, even after the expiration of this tornado warning for parts of Columbiana County. Again, that warning runs until 9:30. If we're getting some rotation right now, it is probably this subtle signature that's producing it right here. This is near 172, near Depot Road. And that's where we're seeing maybe a little bit of a signature on the radar that would suggest that there may be some rotation within that band of strong winds. Let's put a loop on this and go back a half an hour. I'm going to slow down the loop as well. And this is no sort of classic tornado signature on the radar, but maybe a little subtle rotation northeast of Hanoverton, due west of Lisbon right now along 30, and coming up towards the Mahoning County line here before too much longer, up towards Salem, up towards Latonia, up towards Columbiana as well. Again, it's a subtle signature, and it's a low confidence thing that this is producing enough low-level rotation that we should be super concerned. But out of an abundance of caution, if you are in this tornado warning, we want you to take shelter. We want you to get to the lowest level of your home and get away from the windows. If you live in an apartment building and maybe live on an upper floor, hopefully at this point you have made friends with someone on the lower floors of your apartment building and can find that lowest level. National Weather Service says a severe squall line capable of producing both tornadoes and straight line wind damage located about 8 miles south of Salem, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. All of these storms are moving quickly this evening. The worst of the weather in any neighborhood, any one location, is not going to last that long. But for a brief time, you're going to have some pretty intense weather this evening, and it raises the possibility of some power outages. And the combination of all this lightning, along with the strong winds, may lead to some power outage issues across our region this evening. Again, it's not going to last very long, and I think we're pretty much out of the woods this evening in our television viewing area by about 11 o'clock. By 11 or so, this should be exiting Mercer and Lawrence counties. But it's going to be pretty busy here for the next hour to hour and a half, certainly, again, especially across our eastern Ohio counties. So we're on the air this evening due to a tornado warning, which is in effect for parts of Columbiana County until 9:30 this evening. The National Weather Service issues warnings now for parts of counties in general. Sometimes you'll still see warnings for entire counties in situations like tonight's, where severe thunderstorm warnings are out for entire counties. Usually tornado warnings are for only parts of counties. We get more specific with those warnings, so you are not in any sort of tornado danger, if you will, in East Liverpool, in East Palestine, in Calcutta, in Glenmore, and down towards Salineville. Yes, it's windy and raining and a lot of lightning, but the tornado risk within this line is confined to this box right here, from areas to the northwest of Lisbon and the northeast of Hanoverton, up towards Salem, over towards Latonia. I'm going to bring up the wind velocity data once again off the Pittsburgh National Weather Service radar, and boy, it's a real subtle signature, but I think this is what the National Weather Service is looking at right here, just east of Depot Road, over towards 45, near or just south of the KSU Salem branch, along 45. Some rotation, some red colors, winds blowing away from the Pittsburgh radar, in green colors, which are winds blowing towards the Pittsburgh National Weather Service radar, which is located down in Moon Township to the northwest of downtown Pittsburgh. So when we see these brighter reds and brighter greens next to each other, in some circumstances that may mean there's some rotation. Sometimes it means it's more of a downburst. Sometimes the radar can be a little bit deceptive with these couplets, but this is a decent enough looking signature on the radar that I do think that the tornado warning is warranted, even though at this point I would say the odds of an actual tornado being on the ground are fairly low. But we don't want you to let down your guard for the next 7 or 8 minutes. If you are near the Mahoning-Columbiana line, Latonia, Columbiana, over to Salem, seek shelter. Find the lowest level of your home away from the windows. Most important things: lowest level, basement, interior room. If you don't have a basement, just find the most interior room. Put as many walls between you and the outside as you can. We want you to put as many walls between you and the outside and get away from those windows. Those are the most important things. Not everyone has a basement. Some people might live on an upper floor of an apartment building, and we tell you that, you know, every spring you should think about what to do if you live on the 3rd or 4th floor of an apartment building and you need to seek shelter from severe weather. Hopefully you've made friends with someone on a lower level. You've made them brownies, and you've made good enough friends with someone that when severe weather strikes, you can find a safer place than that upper floor. For those who live in a house that has a basement, now's a good time to head there if you are in the way of this storm along 45 and up towards 344 as well as you get into the Latonia area, old 344. Anyone in this zone, Lisbon Road and north of Long's Crossing Road right now, Sheely Road, in those areas, seek shelter. If you're watching from the Latonia area, we want you to find your safe place right now. If you're watching this from Mahoning County, it'll be interesting to see what the National Weather Service out of Cleveland does as this continues pushing north and east. They're going to do a handoff here between the Pittsburgh Weather Service office and the Cleveland Weather Service office as this crosses the border into Mahoning County. The National Weather Service in Pittsburgh has issued a new severe thunderstorm warning for Hancock County, West Virginia, Beaver, Lawrence, Mercer, Washington, Columbiana, Jefferson. A really big new polygon was just issued by the National Weather Service in Pittsburgh. We'll show that to you graphically here. Here's that new polygon, new severe thunderstorm warning. This includes eastern Columbiana County, East Liverpool, East Palestine, Rogers, Elk Run, and then heading up into the Newcastle area, New Wilmington, Beaver County, PA, and then the southwestern corner of Mercer as well. Continuing coverage, streaming coverage on WFMJ.com, the Storm Tracker 21 app, our Facebook channels. The Facebook stream originated on my page. Search for meteorologist Eric Wilhelm to find me on Facebook and find that live stream. We've been streaming live for about an hour and a half, so you may have to scroll down some. You can also watch on YouTube if you search for me on YouTube as well. And we're doing our live coverage here on TV because we do have a tornado warning out for another 5 minutes for parts of Columbiana County, specifically far northern Columbiana County right now, right around the KSU branch, heading up towards Salem, Latonia, and maybe eventually Washingtonville as well. This is the traditional radar showing the showing the rain and the lightning strikes, those plus signs and lightning icons. That's showing the lightning frequency. When we switch over to showing the wind, and modern radars can show both the wind speeds and the wind directions relative to the radar site, when we look at this, we see this signature right here, where you see some brighter reds next to some greens, indicative that there might be some rotation in this part of the storm, like this. The greens are blowing towards Pittsburgh, the reds are winds blowing away from Pittsburgh. So again, around 5:58 and around Latonia, or just west of Latonia, we want you to take this seriously and seek shelter. Find the lowest level of your home, away from the windows, interior room, and take your device with you and continue watching us if you're not near the TV in your safe place. If you have a smartphone, if you have a tablet, take it with you and continue watching our coverage online as you duck out of the way of this. The warning is going to expire in about 4 minutes. I'm not going to be surprised if the Cleveland National Weather Service does have to issue an additional tornado warning for parts of Mahoning County. And I would say something, oops, let's actually bring up this tool so I can draw maybe this part of Mahoning County, maybe Beaver up to 224, Canfield, Boardman, over into Poland as well. I'm not going to be surprised if that part of Mahoning County gets placed under a warning. Whether or not a warning is issued, if you live near the Mahoning-Columbiana line, take the storm seriously and seek your safe location right now. It's right over Latonia, or just west of Latonia, where this couplet is, where this signature of possible rotation is, near 558. It's east of 45 now. It's near 344, and a couple of other roads we can call out as we zoom in here. Lisbon Road, Butcher Road, and we just got a fresh scan of the radar. This is right over the border right now. That fresh scan puts that signature now right over the Mahoning-Columbiana line around Washingtonville. Seek shelter if you're watching from Washingtonville, but we're going to give you the all clear in a good chunk of that warning polygon down in Columbiana County now. So giving you the all clear if you're south of Salem. If you are southwest of Latonia, all clear from the tornado threat. Yes, it's windy and we're getting a pretty big storm, but I'm giving you the all clear from the threat of a tornado now in a good chunk of that Columbiana County warning polygon. It's right near the Columbiana-Mahoning line right now that we have some possible rotation right around Washingtonville, right in through here. And we've got to be very aware of that. All right, and so the Weather Service is going to expire the tornado warning for Columbiana here at 9:30, coming up in about a minute. And we're going to see if the National Weather Service in Cleveland does anything additional as far as any tornado warnings go with this coming up into Mahoning County. All of our area is under a severe thunderstorm watch, which runs until 1 a.m. I do think the severe weather threat will be over before 1 a.m., but everywhere across eastern Ohio, western PA, we have a severe thunderstorm watch that's in effect this evening. That means conditions are favorable for severe weather to occur, and severe weather has been occurring all day across the state of Ohio, and it's coming into eastern parts of the state and western PA as well. Western PA, the last places to get these storms this evening. A big, mean line of storms with a lot of lightning and a history. This line has a history producing a lot of wind damage and a lot of problems in western and central Ohio earlier on today. Our tornado warning getting set to expire in another minute. We're going to continue our coverage on TV for at least another minute or two to see if any sort of new tornado warning is issued for parts of Mahoning County. The signature, let's switch over to the Pittsburgh radar here. The signature that we've been watching may be weakening some, but it's still interesting enough. Again, we're keeping an eye on this area right here, right around Washingtonville, very near the Mahoning-Columbiana line for possible rotation with the winds blowing in this direction here and this direction right here. Elsewhere, we have severe thunderstorm warnings out for the rest of Columbiana County, for all of Mahoning County, for all of Trumbull County, for the southwestern part of Mercer, and just about all of Lawrence County. In Mercer County, even though right now it's just the southwestern corner in effect until 10 o'clock, I do think the rest of the county will eventually get put under a severe thunderstorm warning here before the evening is through. Here's a look at the radar showing all of the lightning. This is quite a lightning show right now. The lightning appears to be weakening some on the northern fringes of this, not as much up in Trumbull and Mahoning counties, but we're getting a lot of lightning, and this is dangerous lightning. A lot of positive voltage lightning strikes right now down towards Columbiana and into Elk Run and Rogers as well. So our warning is expiring right around now, right around 9:30. The tornado warning is expiring, and it appears that the National Weather Service office in Cleveland will not issue a new tornado warning, as this signature has weakened some as it's come northward into Mahoning County. So we're going to take one more look here, and again, what we've been watching is just a relatively subtle signature right here of some possible rotation that has been coming northeastward through Columbiana County, now into far southern parts of Mahoning County. This is now north and east of Washingtonville. It's very near 11, just north of the county line. It's near the 11 and 46 zone. 165 runs through here as well. This is to the east of South Range. And so this is coming north and eastward and will eventually cross Western Reserve Road and the Ohio Turnpike here as we go towards 935 and 940. All right, on the television side, since our tornado warnings have expired, we are going to get you back to regular programming, but don't forget the coverage now continues on our Facebook outlets, WFMJ.com, and the Storm Tracker 21 app. If we have any new tornado warnings, and it's not out of the realm of possibility that we will, if we have any new ones, we will continue the coverage on TV as well. In the meantime, back to regular programming on WFMJ and WBCB. Alrighty. All right, we are back here on the online live stream. Always interesting when you have to get on TV. Hopefully, we didn't get too much hate mail. Anytime you interrupt programming on TV, no matter what the weather situation, you're going to make someone mad. But that's the way it goes. We're going to be on TV during tornado warnings. All right, in all seriousness, we continue to want you to keep this in mind, that this line, as it continues pushing north and east, might still try to produce the occasional signature on the radar that would suggest maybe we have some rotation. The Weather Service in Cleveland is not going to issue a new tornado warning for this, but they are continuing the severe thunderstorm warning with what they call a tag on the end of the warning saying, hey, just a heads up, tornado possible with this. Not enough for a warning, but enough to keep a close eye on, certainly, as this makes its way through Mahoning County. So we're done with the the tornado warning down in Columbiana County. Our weak signature right now is right over 11, and just to the east of 46, or right over 46. It's kind of right here. This is still south of Western Reserve Road in southern Mahoning County. It's west of Beaver, just a little west of Beaver. Weather Service in Pittsburgh says that a new couplet is forming around Ohioville, possible tornado warning coming there soon. So maybe parts of Beaver County. This is out of our viewing area, but we may be getting a new tornado warning over in Beaver County because of that signature right there. That will be for the Pittsburgh and perhaps Wheeling markets to deal with down on their end. In our television viewing area, a weakening somewhat weakening, I should say, signature coming into south central Mahoning County right now. When we look at the rotation product here, over the last hour, and let's slow this down. There it is right there. That's what we've been keeping an eye on, this guy right here, where you see the blue. That's where the rotation started down near Hanoverton, and now continues in a somewhat weakened state up into Mahoning County, but it's something that we got to keep a very close eye on in Mahoning County. At the very least, this is a lot of wind coming through south central Mahoning County right now. Let me switch radar sources here. We're closer to the Pittsburgh radar, certainly at this point. And even though this looks a little noisy and wonky on the data right now, I think this is still quite a bit of wind that's coming through Columbiana and coming up towards the 224 corridor, Western Reserve Road as well, 680 all under the gun here for some pretty strong winds. Then coming up here momentarily. Let me actually take a quick peek at our Columbiana camera and see what's going on there. Here's Columbiana on our Surf Pro weather camera. The traffic circle, continuous lightning here on the camera, along with obviously some pretty heavy rain. Yeah, the lightning is nearly continuous there in Columbiana. Our other active camera right now is up in Niles, and maybe we lost power up there. Let me refresh that. Looks like our Niles camera reset some time ago when they maybe lost power up there. This is a live look eastbound on 422 in Niles. It's windy. Look at the sheets of rain falling here in Niles. That is a good thunderstorm moving through there. And again, down in Columbiana, we have nearly continuous lightning ongoing. Don't want to let our guard down just yet, though, on what's going on with this surge of wind coming northeastward through Mahoning County. This does not have a tornado warning attached to it anymore. But at the very least, we're getting some strong winds bearing down on Poland and Coatesville and Struthers and Lowellville. The worst of the wind likely to be kind of just east of Canfield and closer to Boardman, Poland. Let's pull up our wind data here once again. A little bit of noisiness in the data through here, but still might see a little subtle signature right here between 165 and Western Reserve Road, near 7. So as 7 approaches Boardman, near Western Reserve Road, might still have some signs of rotation on the radar with that. Still bears watching, even though it's marginal, it's borderline. It bears watching. That is for sure. Elsewhere out of our television viewing area, tornado warning down into parts of Beaver County, PA, with a pretty strong signature down there. Elsewhere, let's zoom back out and take a look at the traditional radar here momentarily. Heavy rain, frequent lightning moving through Mahoning County. Lightning is a little less frequent up into Trumbull County. Some wind and some rain, not quite as much lightning up there. And we haven't seen much just yet in Mercer County except for this lone cell in far northeastern Mercer County, French Creek area. That's not associated with the main line. Main line is still well off to your west. I want to look at the Cleveland velocity data here. Again, in the heart of Mahoning County, we're pretty far from both radar sites here, so the data tends to be a little bit noisy because the radar beam is sampling things that are upstairs quite a bit. There's nothing real definitive to my eye right now that we have strong rotation in Mahoning County. To me, the signatures are all pretty subtle and pretty weak. We've got a big thunderstorm moving through and a lot of lightning, but I'm not seeing much evidence right now of anything. If I was sitting in the hot seat at the National Weather Service, I would probably not issue a tornado warning right now on this, but I'd be watching it awfully carefully, that is for sure. The signature looked better a little while ago. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. I've got over 1,000 on Facebook right now. I know that I haven't been able to look at a lot of comments because things, as expected, have gotten pretty busy here of late. We've been streaming now for almost 2 hours. We started this a little before 8 o'clock, and I wanted to get the live stream up and running pretty quickly before the weather got too busy, and now we're in the heart of it. Weather Service is continuing the Beaver County, PA tornado warning. Heavy, heavy rain now. Mahoning County, I mean, this is buckets of rain. Very tropical air mass. That means tropical rains where you get these purples, brief periods where we're getting rain rates of 6-7 inches per hour. It's not going to last a whole hour. In fact, it's just going to last a few minutes with that kind of rain rate. But that goes to show you just how Florida-like these downpours are that are moving through parts of Columbiana County, Mahoning County, up into a good chunk of Trumbull County as well. Again, a live look up into Niles, and boy, it is raining hard and sideways. We're getting some wind with this as well. And then down into Columbiana along the traffic circle, where we continue to have some lightning, maybe a little less frequent than earlier, and maybe not quite as windy as it was earlier on. To me, this does not look all that strong right now up in Trumbull County. As far as, I shouldn't say it doesn't look that strong. It doesn't look that severe up in Trumbull County. No doubt a pretty good thunderstorm with some gusty winds, some heavy rain, and some lightning. In fact, some pretty vivid lightning right now in the northern part of Trumbull near the Ashtabula line. Yeah, that's no doubt some heavy rain. May even be some hail. A little bit of hail near the Trumbull Ashtabula line right now. To me, it looks a little bit stronger with more frequent lightning down into southeastern Mahoning County. And then the worst of the weather is getting set to exit Columbiana. No longer in a warning in the southwestern part of Columbiana County. Still in a warning technically in Salem and Lisbon, but I'm giving you the all clear there. All clear in East Liverpool, in Calcutta, Glenmore, Laycroft, Elk Run, Rogers. Giving you the all clear there. Even though the warning technically is in effect for a little while longer. Still a pretty sizable thunderstorm, New Middletown, and up to Poland, Boardman, Youngstown area getting some heavy rain right now. This is coming into Coatesville and Lowellville. This is coming into Hubbard pretty soon. It's coming into Brookfield, Yankee Lake pretty soon. Coming into Sharon before too much longer, along with West Middlesex, and it's bearing down on Newcastle. Looking for additional spots of potential rotation, and not seeing a lot that really stands out right now, with the exception of what's going on down in Beaver County. Any rotation right now, it's hard to see much to a trained eye here. I know to people who don't look at the weather every day, this doesn't look like anything that makes much sense to you. I get that, but I'm going to continue checking it out for possible, what we call couplets, where we have possible rotation. At the very least, we got a lot of lightning. I mean, this is a doozy of a lightning show in southeastern Mahoning County right now. They're continuing the tornado warning in Beaver County. When you hear that screech in the background, that means I got to look over and see what the Weather Service is doing as far as active tornado warnings. The only active one is down in Beaver County, PA, east of Columbiana County. Up here near Kinsman, and not far from the Ashtabula County line, Gustavus, want to look at the hail, because this looks like it might be a little bit of hail up here. Yeah. The hail algorithm tends to be a few minutes behind, and you can see there's a little blotch of green right there, indicative that this storm might be trying to produce at least pea-sized hail in the far northern reaches of Trumbull County. Joe on Twitter says the wind and rain already dying down in Boardman after about 5 minutes of strong winds. Yeah, that's what we've been talking about, that it's not, the worst of the weather is not going to last very long in any location. Keith on Facebook, heavy rains in Liberty. Adam says, I'm supposed to be paving Route 30 tomorrow. Hopefully this system is far gone by then. Yeah, beautiful day coming up tomorrow. All right, Cleveland issues a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Trumbull until, wow, 11:15. That's a long warning. That's an hour and a half. The Trumbull part of that will not go until 11:15. They're going to issue a big warning polygon here, but yeah, Trumbull, you're going to be out of the woods here before too much longer. All right, so again, we're going to give you some all clears here. You're clear from severe weather now in all of Columbiana County. You're clear in western and southern Mahoning County. You'll be clear in about 15 minutes in the rest of Mahoning County, but you got to hang in there for a little while longer. Poland, Boardman, Struthers, Louisville, New Middletown, even up to Austintown and Youngstown, it's raining pretty hard. Not as much lightning up here, but it's raining hard. Also raining hard and some gusty winds up into parts of Trumbull County as well. Western Trumbull County, Warren, Lordstown, Newton Falls, Southington, you're out of the warning. No longer in a warning up there. No longer in a warning west of Austintown, Ellsworth, Craig Beach, Sebring, Beloit, you're all done with severe weather for the foreseeable future. Again, we got a pretty dry forecast beyond tonight. We're going to keep a close eye on what used to be a tornado warning, or used to have a tornado warning attached to it. It was this leading edge of the storm that's now in the eastern part of Mahoning County. Earlier there was a pretty good wind and possible rotation signature with that. There no longer is. And so we are keeping an eye on it, but I no longer see any sort of significant signature here as far as the wind data in eastern Mahoning County. Bears watching though, because it has had a history of trying to rotate at least a little bit. Here's a broad view of the entire line. Boy, what a line it has been. The Cleveland National Weather Service office mentioned that they have now issued a warning product for every single county in their area today. And the Cleveland Weather Service office covers 30 counties. All 30 counties have had severe thunderstorm warnings today. So it's been a very busy day for a lot of meteorologists. All right, Pittsburgh issuing a radar-indicated tornado warning, Beaver, PA. So this line continues to kind of bow out and surge as it approaches the Pittsburgh area. It's going to be a very busy next hour or so around greater Pittsburgh. All of that is now to the east of Columbiana County. You're in the clear in Columbiana County. You're going to be in the clear by about 10 o'clock in Mahoning County. You're going to be in the clear by about 10 o'clock or so in Trumbull County, just southeastern Trumbull County and northeastern Trumbull County now, still seeing some big-time thunderstorms with heavy rain, gusty winds, and a lot of lightning. Mercer County, it's going to take you a little bit longer to be done with this, but by 11 you should be done. Same thing down in Newcastle and Lawrence County. A lot of wind and rain coming in, but it's not going to last very long in any one location. So Newcastle, you're going to have a tough 10 or 15 minutes here as we head towards 9:55, 10 o'clock. And hang in there, and then it's going to rain for a little while, and then you'll be done for the night. All right, so Pittsburgh is canceling the severe thunderstorm warning for Columbiana. As I've been mentioning, Columbiana, you're now out of the woods. Here's our camera down in Columbiana, where things are a lot quieter than they used to be. Used to be continuous lightning down here, but thankfully no more. Up in Niles, we're still getting some heavy rain. Rainfall rates are still impressive up here, and it's still a little bit breezy to at times windy up here as well. That temperature of 84 is no longer correct. That is for sure. And again, down in Columbiana, things are starting to improve. So again, for those who may be joining the stream pretty late in the game here, I'm going to take off the warning information and start talking about who is in the clear and who is not. You're in the clear for the night in Columbiana County. You are in the clear for the night southwest of Youngstown. Rest of Mahoning County, if you're southwest of Youngstown, southwest of Austintown, you're clear. It's going to rain for a little while, but the severe weather threat is done. If you are west of Route 11 in Trumbull County, you are pretty much done at this point. It's far eastern Trumbull County that still is dealing with a heavy thunderstorm. You got to be weather aware for a little while and hang with our coverage for a little while longer in Lawrence County and Mercer County as well, with the squall line pushing in as we speak. We're going to go back to the wind data off the Pittsburgh National Weather Service radar here. Gusty winds coming into Newcastle, indicated by the brighter red colors. Probably some gusty winds, even though the colors are a little more muted up here. You're getting farther away from the radar site, and so the colors can become more muted. No doubt it's pretty windy in Hubbard and Vienna and over towards Sharon as well. In fact, let me look at the official observations from the Youngstown Warren Airport and see what they did there. Looks like the wind, the wind gusted to 47 miles per hour at the Youngstown Warren Airport. Yeah, 47 mile per hour gust at the Youngstown Warren Airport. I'm going to tweet that out. Still have 1,000 viewers on Facebook. Thanks again for everyone tuning in this evening, and haven't been able to see a lot of comments lately because we've been busy with warnings, but thanks to everyone who is giving me the ground truth out there. We've got all this fancy radar and cameras and things like that, but it really helps me to know what people are actually seeing on the ground out there. And even though I can't always respond to all the comments and see all the comments, I go back and try to read as many as I can, and I really appreciate everyone for helping me out. So we're still getting a lot of lightning near the Ohio-PA line now, around Louisville, Coatesville, and along 422. That drive from Youngstown to Newcastle along 422 right now is filled with low visibility, sheets of rain. Got to keep those speeds down, no doubt about it. We're getting some heavy rain up into Hubbard and Brookfield. Vienna, we're again at the airport, the wind gusted to 47 miles per hour. Hartford, Yankee Lake, heavy rain, but again, west of 11, we're in better shape now. We're getting some rain, Warren, Newton Falls, Lordstown, but we are not dealing with severe weather over there. The Weather Service issues a new severe thunderstorm warning, parts of Lawrence and Mercer until 10:30. So the rest of Mercer County is now under a severe thunderstorm warning until 10:30. So, the last to kind of get in the game here, if you will, and this has always been what we expected, Mercer County now under a severe thunderstorm warning until 10:30 this evening. Here on the roof at our downtown studios, we've had about 1/4 of an inch worth of rain. It's been raining hard, but the rain is starting to let up on the roof. I no longer hear any rain up on the roof, so that is a good thing. If you were in the way of this, though, we got to take this seriously. We may be in wind down mode now in a lot of our eastern Ohio counties, but you got to take this seriously. If you're in Newcastle and Sharon, Wheatland, Hermitage, Mercer, this is a big gust of wind and a lot of lightning and some briefly intense downpours coming your way. So take this seriously. You're hearing me giving a lot of all clears, but we're not in the clear at all just yet, out ahead of this. In areas that are still out ahead of it, New Wilmington, it's coming into Newcastle right now. It's coming into Sharon right now. It'll be over into Mercer here before too much longer. And let's do some fresh clock times now that I'm thinking of it and give you some approximate arrival times here. I'm going to say this is moving now at 45. And under that premise, Hermitage right now, Mercer 10:08, Meadville 10:16, French Creek 10:32, Sugar Creek 10:37. I think it's, out of eastern Mercer County by 10:35, 10:45 at the latest. Everything's been moving very quickly this evening. That's helping us out. If these storms are moving slower, it would be a whole different story. We'd be probably talking about a lot of flash flooding in flood-prone areas. But we can handle this amount of water when these storms are moving along at the speed in which they are moving along. All right, they're canceling the tornado warning down in Beaver. Yeah, brighter reds here in Newcastle, Shenango. Yeah, heavy rain and gusty winds coming towards Hickory, coming towards New Wilmington. If you're watching from Slippery Rock, I tend to get a lot of questions from people over into Slippery Rock, even though it's kind of out of our our television viewing area. This will be coming probably by 10:20 to 10:30. Gusty winds now east of the airport and across right along the state line, right around the Ohio-PA state line, Masury to Sharon to Wheatland, Brookfield, Yankee Lake. It's coming into Hermitage here momentarily. I mentioned a while ago at the Youngstown Warren Airport, the wind gusted to 47 miles per hour a couple of times at 9:37 and again at 9:44 this evening. And I'm sure that was pretty representative of a lot of places this evening as far as wind gusts go. Here on the rooftop at our downtown studios, we had a gust of, let's see here, 42 miles per hour. So here on the roof, and I know that that's pretty high up, and that's not really a great weather observation from a technical meteorological sense when you're measuring the wind on a roof of a building, but still 42 miles per hour up on our roof here in downtown Youngstown a little while ago. All right, Pulaski, heavy thunderstorm pushing in. Hubbard, it's raining like crazy. Newcastle, windy, rainy. No fun at all out there this evening. Someone tweeted at me, Jeff tweeted a video of a lot of creepy lightning in the Hermitage area. Thanks for that video. All right, so we have the last of our warnings now out for Mercer County, central and eastern Lawrence County. We're just about out of the woods in Trumbull and Mahoning. We are out of the woods in Columbiana County this evening. And this continues to push to the north and the east. At this point, I'm going to stop the live stream because we are coming up at the 10 o'clock hour, and I've got to get ready for the newscast coming up here at 11 and catch my breath a little bit. If we do have a resurgence of anything that appears to be real serious, I am going to hop back on the live stream. But as it stands right now, we have very strong winds and some heavy rain coming up into Mercer County, the northeastern corner of Lawrence County, but we are out of the woods as far as severe weather goes right now in our Ohio counties, including Trumbull, Mahoning, and Columbiana. Still getting a light show in some places, still getting heavy rain, especially near the state line, but the threat for damaging winds winding down very quickly here in our Ohio counties. So thanks for sticking with me on this long live stream this evening. I'm going to have a full update coming up in 1 hour on 21 News at 11 and on social media as well, and I look forward to seeing you then.